everyone? This is Alfredo with Real Talk. And have you been wondering about your branding? Is it right? Is it correct? What do you do? What do you not to do, right? So today I have the pleasure and the privilege to have here with me Candince Carcioppolo. How you doing today?
I'm doing great.
The one and only.
That's right.
You're great.
Oh, thank you.
I love your
doing
videos.
awesome.
I love your content.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So for those of you that don't know, I mean, I'm not going to go to your roots and all that because I know there's a lot of stuff about you out there, and I'm sure people already know you. But from being a teacher, first of all, thank you for your service. I always tell teachers, thank you for your service because it's hard. From being a teacher and now, and obviously been doing this, branding. Mm-hmm. How important is branding? And I just told you we connected to you, and one of the things that I loved about you, it was the fact that we were giving the same message to people.
Yeah.
Like, people follow people. I don't care what you say. People follow people. Tell me a little bit about that. How did that come to you?
Because I realized that people want to connect with someone as a human being and as a peer. That matters to people. And if people don't follow brands with the same type of relationship.
Do they even know the relationship to the brand?
That's what I'm saying. Like, you have naturally, human beings have relationships with other humans.
Right.
And we connect and we communicate in a certain way. But a brand that doesn't have a face, we don't connect with that in the same way. You can like a brand.
Yeah.
And you can enjoy a brand, but you don't have the same feelings towards a brand that you have towards a human. And so I encourage my clients to stop only focusing on the thing that they are selling and allow people to get to know them as human beings. Because then even when the consumer is not in the market to buy whatever product you're selling, they're still following you because they like you as a human being.
Right.
And you're top of mind for them still. And when they're ready to jump into that market, they're going to think of you first. And if their friend is ready to jump into that market, they're going to say your name first.
Right, instead of your brand, right?
Instead of your brand, because they're not going to say, oh, I love this person because they sell, I don't know, they sell makeup, right?
Yeah.
It's not that. They love this person because they're so funny, because they're so warm, because they're so insightful, they're so knowledgeable. They have 3 kids just like they do, and they can relate to them. There's a reason that people follow human beings.
Yeah, also when you're doing content and you're showing your dogs, your pets, people relate to that, right?
Yes.
Or you're eating pizza or you're a foodie or whatever, like people relate to that.
All the little quirks that you have about yourself that you're afraid to share are often things that people hold on to.
Right.
Yes.
So now let me go back a little bit. I mean, I wanted to get into that because that's how we connected. But how did you start it into this branding entrepreneurship?
Yeah. So I was a middle school history teacher for a while. I think about 8 years. And I realized that I was just too bougie to make that amount of money for the rest of my entire life.
Right.
That was just
That
it.
was not enough. Okay.
And I was in my 30s and I was still single. And I knew that I wanted to make more money. That's pretty much all I knew.
Yeah.
And I also became a coach for teachers. And I realized what I was coaching was not necessarily how to teach a lesson. I was coaching for the teachers to learn how to believe in themselves and to trust themselves and to be more confident in their abilities. And that's a lot of what I was teaching was that, and how to be more resilient and that kind of stuff. And I realized, you know what? Not only teachers need this, a lot of other people need this. And I bet you I could...
Any business, right?
Any business, any entrepreneur, any human being needs to learn those skills if they want to get better at whatever they're doing. And so I realized I could start doing that outside of the classroom. So I started coaching other people. And, it really started with teachers who have side hustles. So teachers need to make more money.
Yeah, of
so
course.
I always had teacher friends who were like, okay, Candince, can you help me like you do in the classroom, but with my side yoga business or with my t-shirt business or whatever? Can you help me like learn how to plan for that? And teachers are excellent backwards planners. That's one of the skills that we have to have. So I would help them plan like, okay, if this is your goal, then in quarter 1, we need to do this. In quarter 2, we need to do that. We need to think about, these things. And I realized I think I could really do this without having a 9-to-5 job where they assign me clients.
Right.
And instead, I think I could seek out my own clients. It was pretty naive of me to think that at the time. But
we all dream of something at one point, right?
Exactly. I coached a few real estate agents, and my parents are in real estate, said I would never be in real estate. We realized that I could change their business around in 6 months to a year. Their business can look entirely different if they just had a little bit more clarity, a little bit more confidence, if they knew how to leverage social media, like their business can entirely change. So I helped a few people who were trying to get to that GCI of just $100,000, right? That first 100,000. And that's a real big confidence boost for people who've never been there before. And I was like, you know what? If I could do this so quickly, I could just replicate the same thing over and over with real estate agents. I think I can really...
Now, let me ask you, in your quest to helping these agents, what was the common mistake people were making in their branding?
People always say, I'll take any client.
Okay.
And that's a huge mistake.
Okay. But I mean, it happens with newer agents. I mean, they're like, whatever comes right now, that's fine, right? But then you kept seeing that.
People are 5 years in and they're still saying, I'll work with anyone.
Okay.
And even as a newer agent, I think you may be on the secretly, on the down low, you work with anyone, but outwardly. Yeah. Who are you actually wanting to call into your world?
Who are you looking for?
Who are you looking for? Who are you trying to call into your world? Because what you put out is what you're gonna get back. So if you're like, I'm working and I'm selling these, $95,000 condos, and you're doing that over and over again, guess who's gonna find you? People who want to buy a $95,000 condo.
And it's so funny you mentioned that because they ask me all the time, like, Alfredo, do you work with sellers? And I say, you know what? I don't look for sellers.
Right.
I said, I get them, but I don't look for them.
Right.
That's not what I'm targeting, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm an emotional guy. Like, I'd rather deal with an emotion.
Yeah.
Than fight with a seller over $100,
right. Yeah.
So, so you're right. Like, it depends what you're putting out there, right?
Yes. And so what I would help them do is to clarify who they actually want to work with, and then learn how to speak to that person through the type of content that they're putting out there.
Okay.
So even if you're not yet selling at the level that you want to sell at, but let's say you want to sell $700,000 houses, then be seen in $700,000 houses.
Right.
Okay. And so you're going to create content, even if they're not your listings, even if you're going to a broker's open, you're going to just consistently show that you're there. And then that's going to tell your audience that's the level that you transact at, whether that's currently true or not. And you're going to progress to that level while still selling whatever is coming your way.
Right.
Yes, but you're building the narrative and you're building the track record online that this is where you're going.
Does there have to be, because people get desperate, but I know that this branding takes time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not something that can change from one day to another, but people actually get desperate of not seeing results, right?
Right.
And not realizing that this is a long haul. Like, you really have to build this up. You can't just expect a result right away.
Right.
Now, I come from a pure prospecting office.
Okay.
My broker is an old school. You
do your calls.
Yeah, we've been with them for like 20 years. And, back in the days, made sense. I don't know about now, but it's hard to tell people. Like, I've told people, look, before you go prospect, create some content.
Yeah.
Do 1, 2, 3 videos, go to prospect.
Yeah.
Use it as an extra source of income, right? Or source of leads, because you can use it.
Yeah.
Go prospect, let the video do its thing. But then there's what you were talking about, the fear of being out there.
Yep. So prospecting absolutely works. And I'm not discouraging anyone from doing that. But I love what you're saying is adding in that layer of making your own content. The great thing about prospecting is that you hear people's problems every day, right? Yeah. You hear what they're frustrated with every day. That is great fodder for your content.
Right.
And you should use that. So that's amazing. But what I don't like about only prospecting is that once that call's over, it's over.
Yeah.
Like, maybe it gave you thicker skin. Okay,
maybe
I'll take that.
You took a rejection.
Yeah, I took a rejection.
Yeah. And eventually you get a good call.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But other than that, like, that moment in time is not working for you.
Yeah.
Where if you are making that content before you go in or maybe after, that content's going to work for you while you're sleeping, while you're at the gym, while you're on vacation. Like, I haven't made a piece of content really in 3 months since my baby's born, right? Yeah. It doesn't matter because I get incoming.
You still get
all day, every day, because my videos are still being shown.
Yeah. With that being said, Now, I mentioned to you earlier that I've been looking at some of your videos. I went back to some of your old videos, and there were some rocks being thrown at me there directly. I was like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? So let's talk about content, creating content. It's not, it's not as simple as just, it is simple as just creating a video and posting it. But as you grow with your brand, right, there's things, there's do's and don'ts.
Yep.
What would you say those will be the
I kind of want to go back. Can we go back?
Okay, absolutely.
So there was, you asked me, like, people, when they don't see results, like, how do they stick with it?
Yeah.
Okay. And I think that's a great question because I get this all the time. And people often don't, they want that quick win.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. And I encourage people to think about a quick win as something different than what they think a quick win is. A quick win might be someone in your DMs. That's a quick win. That means you've been seen.
Yeah.
Someone has seen you. Even if they're not buying a house.
They ask you a question.
They're asking you a question.
Yes.
That means they see you as someone who has knowledge.
Yes.
And that's the beginning of knowing that your brand is
out there
and working.
Yeah.
Yes. Another thing that's the beginning of it is if you walk into your office and let's say your broker has a meeting and someone's like, oh, you think you're cool? You're on social media now?
Yeah.
Okay, I saw you. Okay. You're out with a microphone. Come on, right? Yeah.
That means that bullying.
Yeah. that bullying, that teasing, that, okay, who do you think you are? All of that means it's working.
Yeah.
And you have to go through that phase. And sometimes that phase lasts a long time, right? And you go to the holidays with your family, like, okay, she's famous now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Miss you.
Exactly.
Recording.
Exactly.
Doing the trend.
Then you know that's working. So you saw, great. You didn't like it, but you saw me.
Yeah.
Okay.
You get it out there.
And that's the beginning of it. And no one gets to skip that stage.
Yeah.
Okay. You have to go through that stage.
Yeah.
And what happens is, a year, 2, 3 years later, they're like, hey, how'd you do that? Can you show me how?
How'd you grow? Right?
Yeah, how'd you grow? Okay, well, she's actually selling these houses. Oh, she's actually out there. She's traveling the world and talking about this stuff. Like, oh, wow. And they are going to say that, but you have to go through that weird, awkward phase, especially with friends and family who think they already know who you are and you're growing.
Yeah.
And at a different pace than you've been growing before.
Making fun of you
They're
too.
making fun of you. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Especially Latino families.
Yeah, for sure.
Probably the worst. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We get that.
All the time. And then the other thing is, if you're feeling like you're not getting results and you are counting your DMs as results and you're counting people kind of making fun of you as results because you're out there. The other thing is, think about it like going to the gym. You can't just show up one time and be like, that was hard and that's it. Or, dang, I did this workout and I still don't have abs. Obviously, right? You have to keep showing up, and you're going to see little things. Maybe the scale doesn't change, but you realize your pants are a little bit easier to zip up. And there's going to be small changes over time, and you got to recognize those small changes so that you're more excited to show up again and again and again.
And on that note, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a statistic out there that also like shows that a social media lead or a lead, you got to nurture a little bit further because they got to build trust.
Yes.
And then the way they build trust is by your content.
Is by seeing you regularly.
Longer, right?
It takes a little bit longer than, a one-on-one type of relationship. But actually, the leads that you get on social media, the people are, when they get to your DMs, it's fast to convert.
Right.
So that's the great thing. But they've been watching you for a year.
Exactly. That's what I mean. They've been watching you for some time because that's how they build trust.
Yes.
Now, you mentioned something on the little note about your content and others, but there's always they're selling houses and you put in houses. I think I've seen a video you talking about this too, about how you want to show yourself on social media.
Yeah.
And I have a different mindset on that, but I wanted to share your point on this of how you want to portray yourself, right? Yeah. Social media, whether you want to be a salesperson or not. Like, I'm a horrible salesperson. I'll tell you that right now. Like, I can't sell. Like, I don't push like that. I don't do any of that, right? But some people do. Yeah. And some people, all their show is houses. Yeah. But, and I always tell people is how you want to show yourself on social media. Do you want to be a local expert?
Yeah.
Do you want to be a salesperson? Do you want to be a resource? What do you want to be? And that's how you're going to attract people too, right?
Totally. And I think that a big mistake that people make is they think that their feed should be just full of houses, basically like just listing videos. And the thing is that people can access the inside of someone's house really easily on lots of different websites. We don't need to name them.
We're not going to name anybody right now.
But you can go and search and look at pictures and videos from inside of these listings pretty much anywhere. Any consumer can find that. And if you're just doing that, then what is the real value add?
Yeah.
And so what I encourage my clients to do is to show their face often. Not just talk about, the beautiful dining room and the backyard. Like, we've seen all that. What can you do that puts your personality, that puts your lifestyle into the video so that people can be like, I follow this person because they feel like a friend.
Yeah.
Because they're funny. Because whatever it is that attracts your audience.
I have a friend of mine that goes to show properties and brings her dog sometimes, and I'm like,
that works for her.
But that works for her, exactly.
I also own a design studio where we create logos for my clients, and I had a client here in Las Vegas actually, and her name's Deidre, and she wears pink in all of her YouTube videos. She used to be in my office. Really? Deidre, so she wears pink in all of her YouTube videos. So I stalked her a little bit before our consultation. I was like, oh my gosh, she's like so fun. She's so cute. She just has like a great personality. Yeah. And she's wearing pink everywhere all day long. And so that's not going to work for you.
No, of course not.
No.
I don't think I'll wear one pink shirt. That's
I'm just going to be honest. I don't think you can pull it off. But Deidre can. And so instead we just like leaned into the fun of her brand and used pink and just did very Vegas-y, and it makes sense for her. Yeah. And I think people are afraid to do the different or weird thing, or like, maybe sometimes pink can be associated with like a little girl or something like that, right? Yeah. But if you own it and it works for you, then let's just lean into that. Right. And there's a lot of different things that people are afraid to lean into because they think it's going to keep them from getting clients. And reality is, it's going to bring you more clients. It's who you are.
It's who you are,
yeah. And you can't stop someone from being themselves, but I think a camera stops people from being themselves.
But then I guess if you're not yourself, like, that will show too.
If you're not yourself, you're also going to end up quitting. Yeah. Because if you're not yourself and you're consistently
and you're
acting,
get tired of that, right? Yeah, you're going to get tired of that. Yeah.
This feels inauthentic. It feels wrong because you're acting, and that's exhausting. But if you just show up on camera as exactly who you are.
I saw a video the other day, and then I know the person, and I'm like, that's not how she fucking talks.
Right. Because all of a sudden, like, we turn into some kind of, I don't know, robot.
Now, I get the mirror and match. Sometimes when you're with a client, you get their behavior. I get that. But not turn into something you're not, because then eventually, like you mentioned, you're going to get tired. And then the truth's going to come out, right?
Exactly. The truth is going to come out. The true you, yeah. It's so funny because I was just doing a workshop the other day, and I was just absolutely being myself, just like I was talking to friends. Like, I don't know, I was like, if your brochure is looking janky, no one's going to want to work with you. Yeah. And that's like maybe not the professional way to say it, okay? Okay. But people laughed. They giggled. Yeah. It's funny because that's how they would say to their friend, right? And I'm on stage saying that, and that just endears them to me. Yeah. And it's just little things like that you're like, oh, but I have to be professional. Like, I own a design studio. I probably shouldn't use language like that. But if I would use it with my friend, I'm just going to use it on the stage because humans use that language, and it's okay. Yeah. And so it's little tiny things like that can endear your audience to you. My good friend, she is like upping her protein and like getting on a workout regimen. And
is she recording that too?
She's recording it. Of course she is. She is. And she's eating a lot of protein. And so she always gets a rotisserie chicken from the market. And now there's a joke that it's like her emotional support chicken, right? And it's funny. So silly. It has nothing to do with her business, right? And so people will like literally send her a DM and be like, I bought myself an emotional support chicken right now. And it's so...
Is there, and going back to the do's and don'ts on social media with branding and all this, that I think, there's always that misconception of not posting personal stuff so much on social media, but then maybe in the feed, maybe in the stories. Like, what would you say about that?
I'd say there's a difference between personal and private.
Okay.
So that's different. You don't have to like air your dirty laundry.
Right,
that's not
right.
what we're asking for. But you can share your journey. And that's important to
Right.
let people feel like they're following you along for the journey. My audience feels like they've seen me grow. They've followed me along. I actually had someone come up to me recently and she was like, oh my gosh, I started following you in 2020. It's so great to see you here now in this like whole new kind of era in your life, right? And she's
With
just
a baby in the-
yeah, with the baby, and I'm married now, and just things have changed, right? And so for her, it was really cool for her to talk to me and be like, oh my gosh, I've been watching you since there.
Yeah.
Now I see this. But the do's and don'ts. I like to start sharing on your Instagram stories a little bit about your personal life. I think that's a great place to start. So, you know, I introduced my baby yesterday to some of my best friends who live here in Vegas who hadn't met her yet.
Yeah.
Posted a little bit of that on my Instagram story. Just any kind of new thing that you're into, that you're doing, like we want to see it. If you're, you know, getting your 10,000 steps in every day, great. Post it on your story. Let people follow along with you. Inspire people to do that too.
Because that will go back to people will relate to you based
Yes,
off of that, right?
Based off of that.
Yeah.
And it's just anything. If you're having a rough day, if, you know, they got your coffee order wrong and then your day just kind of, everything went bad after that. That's fine. We've all had those days too. Share it. Tell us that, you know? So there's a lot of different things that you can share in your Instagram story that is an easy in for people to slide into your DMs and begin to build that relationship. I have a silly story, but one time I got a air fryer from Amazon. Okay. And I was in my late 30s and I got an air fryer. And when I opened the box, it said Fry-yay on it. And it happened to be Friday. I was like, this is kind of cute.
Yeah.
I was like, Fry-yay and Friday. I'm just going to talk about it on my story. So I was like, hey guys, I just got my air fryer, Fry-yay.
Right.
Silly. And I was like, drop all your favorite air fryer recipes for me because this is my first air fryer. And so people are like, oh, try this, try that.
Yeah.
And I got 15 people sending me their air fryer recipes.
And that's engagement.
That's engagement. And then one person says, and oh, by the way, Candice, I've been meaning to talk to you. Can we book a consultation? Sure.
Yeah.
And they made thousands and thousands of dollars.
I bet you they have an air fryer too.
They have an air fryer too. And they booked a consultation with me and they hired me.
Yeah.
And the easy in was not, you know, hey, hire me for this. This is what I'm selling. Hire me for this. Discount today.
Yeah.
It wasn't that. It was like, oh, Candice got an air.
Being you.
It's me being me, sharing my life.
Yeah.
And them feeling that they can contribute because I was asking for something.
Yeah.
And that was the easy in to actually make that connection.
What would you say now with everything going on? I mean, you know, it's a very turmoil going on with real estate. Let's focus on real estate or entrepreneurship in general.
Yeah.
What is the biggest challenge you see now with branding and what's going on?
I think that people will pull back their investment in social media because times are changing. And maybe they think that social media is extra.
Okay.
They feel like this is the place where I'm going to trim the fat.
Okay.
And I think that's a big mistake.
Like, you mean like spending on social media?
Yeah.
Okay.
And sometimes spending on social media is, you know, they're not going to invest in getting their brand photos done because they think they can save money, but they matter.
Right.
And how you
get
present
business,
yourself matters, right? And maybe they're not going to hire the videographer, even though they know they should.
Yeah.
And they're going to, you know, skimp out on the photos for the listing and all these things that really help you to elevate the look of your brand.
Shouldn't you double down on times like this?
I think this is the time to double down.
Say, right?
I think that this is the time when you're going to get even more back from your investment
And get ready for what's
and be
coming,
ready
right?
for what's next.
Yeah.
And so I would encourage people, and maybe they're even going to skip out on the time. Maybe they don't have anyone. They're not paying anything for social media, and that's fine. If you're starting out there, that's fine. Maybe they're not paying anyone, but don't stop investing your time into this because this is absolutely what's going to build your brand.
What about feeling down? Like sometimes I know that it's happened to me. Like when I don't feel like doing anything and I just don't post anything or something or try to post something else. But what would you recommend for people that are like maybe not feeling it and they're just not doing anything? And instead of not doing anything, what would you say?
There's two different ways to look at this. One, if you're going through something personal in your life and you need to take a break for your mental health, take a break. There's nothing wrong with that. Take a break. But I would encourage you to give yourself a check-in point. When are you going to check back in?
Yeah.
Is it a month? Is it 2 months? Like I gave myself 3 months off after I had my baby before I had to feel responsible to show up online because I wanted to, right? And that's okay. And I wanted to make sure I spent time with her, and I wanted to not feel stressed or overwhelmed.
But you were still responding DMs.
Yeah, still responding to DMs, of course, But I wasn't making content. But that's also something like, for me, that was okay. Like, I still wanted to engage with people. I was still liking things. I was still commenting on people's things, which is a form of content, which is a form of connecting. But I wasn't pressuring myself to also have to make content. And so if it's for your mental health or it's something going on in your life, if someone passed away, like you have permission to take your time.
Just step back a little bit.
Step back, yes. Now, if this is just like, I'm just having a bad day, or I'm just annoyed, or I just need a moment, that's fine. But on a day like that, grab a photo.
Right.
That's easy. Grab a photo.
Put some text in it.
Put some text. Grab a photo with the caption, no problem. Put a photo in your story. That's easy way to still stay engaged, but not feel like you have to create content in that moment.
Yeah.
And so I would say, even if you're not feeling it, it's one of those things. I don't want you to get out of the habit. So it's just like, if you don't feel like going to the gym, but you should.
Right.
Sometimes it's just get in the car and get to the gym, and then by the time you're there, you're like, well, shit, I'm already here. Like, let me just, might as well. Exactly. And it's the same kind of thing. If you're not feeling it, I don't want you to not feel it the next day and then it roll over and you're like, well, I haven't posted for a week, so I'm just not going to post at all. Because you can get into that spiral. So if it's not a life event and you're just like, woke up in a bad mood, I would encourage you to just post a photo, write a caption, and move on.
I always tell people sometimes, like, hey, like if you don't feel like doing photos yet or videos yourself, just start off posting videos or photos with captions or even voiceover maybe sometimes.
Yeah, voiceover is great.
And then eventually you'll get the rhythm and then you want to be on the camera, right?
Yeah.
Eventually, but sometimes it's hard. Like, I remember that my first video was horrible.
Yeah.
Like, I tell people, go to my last video, my first video, it's horrible. No lighting. Audio was bad. I was, like, speed talking. I was sweating. I had no idea what the hell I was doing.
I had an experience with a coach. I hired a coach early on in my business, and I wanted to learn how to leverage social media. And what she had me do was create a video every day for 6 months.
Oh, wow.
She's like, you hired me, you made this investment, this is what you need to do. For 6 months, you need to make a video every day. And it was a live video on Facebook at the time.
Okay.
And I was like, what am I going to talk about?
Live every day?
Every day.
Oh, wow.
And what I realized now, and I didn't realize then, is the live wasn't for the audience, really. It was for me.
Yeah.
It was for me because I needed to learn how to get over it.
Get out of your shell.
Get out of my shell, put my face out there, figure out what to talk about.
Yeah.
And in that 6 months, my life and my business changed because I realized, oh, shoot, like, it's the end of the day. I haven't gone live yet. Well, fuck it, push live.
Yeah.
And whatever would come out because...
And that is so hard for people to do.
It's so hard for people. And it was hard for me, but my coach, she's pretty hard. She's
hardcore.
She's a badass. She was hardcore. And she was just like, you hired me. You paid all this money. This is what I'm telling you to do.
True.
Like, freaking do it.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's right. Like, it was like my last swipe of my credit card. So I had to make it happen. Yeah, like I had to do it. And she didn't tell me what to talk about. She was like, well, talk about what you're interested in. Talk about what you care about. Talk about what you talk to your clients about.
I think I heard about that you were like 180 days or something like that.
Yeah, I did. I'm going to get the number of videos wrong, but I did like 160-ish videos in 180 days, something like that. So I skipped a few days, but it still changed my business forever. And what happened is people started counting on me going live. They started asking me about the topics they wanted me to talk about. And I just realized, oh, I can make a video anywhere. It doesn't have to be the perfect audio all the time, perfect lighting all the time. My makeup doesn't have to be done all the time.
And all you need is your phone.
And you can use your phone. And I did it.
How do you go from, let's talk about that. How do you go from going live and having 0 viewers, maybe one, maybe two?
Yeah.
I think it's your other phone that you're watching yourself,
exactly.
right? How do you go from that? Like, how do you don't see that?
Well, now I'm grateful for that there was only 2 people watching that terrible video, right? And I always tell this story, but my roommate was watching me, and I only had 2 viewers, and I asked her, like, hey, how'd it go? Did you watch? And she's like, I watched like half of it. Like, later I found out. Yeah, she just had me on the side. She wasn't actually watching it. So that's normal, and you're going to be grateful for that in a few years when you're like, that was a really crappy video anyways. Right? I don't want everyone to see it. But knowing that, hey, this is actually just for you, and you have to put in this time when it's awkward.
Yeah.
And you don't you don't get to skip that part.
And critique yourself.
Yeah.
I used to do that.
Like, what do I notice about myself that I don't want to do anymore? Because like I noticed so many faces that I make that I never knew I made watching myself back, even things that I say. And that really helped me to understand how I want to show up in the future and like make adjustments and changes. But really it's like creating the habit of showing up.
And just doing it.
And everyone wants the secret. And the secret is there's no secret.
There's no secret. Just, you know what? And I always say, like, people are going to judge you. Whether you do good or bad, it's still going to judge you.
Yes.
If they're going to talk shit, they're going to talk shit regardless.
Right.
So
if you don't have any haters, you're
doing it wrong.
Yeah,
you're doing it wrong. You got to have some haters. Some stalkers too. So now you're in a different space. Yeah. Now you've gone through all that. Shortage of not knowing what to do right at the beginning where we don't know what to do.
But the funny thing is that I want to clarify is that you're going to still go through those phases.
Of course.
As a creator, you still go through those phases, right? It doesn't completely go away.
Yeah.
It's just like, maybe for 6 months you feel like, oh, I'm on a roll, I'm on fire. And then all of a sudden you're like, what am I doing? What am I talking about? What do I want to add to this that's not feeling right? And so you're going to evolve and you're still going to go through moments when you feel like you don't know what's next.
Yeah, you don't know what to say or anything like that. Yeah. Now, I saw that you went through, you call it a podcast tour.
Oh, yeah.
How was that?
It was amazing. Highly recommend.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I was looking at some of your videos and I heard about them. I'm like, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I have a problem, and maybe you can smack me on this, but I have a problem doing the video one.
The video podcast?
Why. Yeah.
Yeah?
Like, I usually have, people here all the time, but I don't, like, even people when I'm there all the time, like, that's why I asked you, like, when are you going to be in town?
Yeah.
Right? Because I don't like the video podcast, but you did it for a whole year.
I did it for a whole year. And I recommend naming everything that you do.
Okay.
So I knew that as I'm growing my podcast, I have a podcast called Not Nice Clever. Follow.
There you go.
And we talk about marketing. I just lost it. What do we talk about? We talk about branding, marketing, money, and manifesting. That's what we talk about. And I knew that I wanted to be on other people's podcasts so I can also promote my own podcast, right? And so I said, okay, I'm going to book. My goal, I think, was 2 podcasts a month for that year. And I was going to be on theirs. And so I was going to do a lot of reaching out to people and asking them to book me, right?
Yeah.
And so, so what I did was I just said, hey, I'm on a podcast tour.
Yeah.
To make it sound official, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like a thing. It wasn't a thing. I made it up, right? I was like, let me just make up this podcast tour.
Make this shit up.
Yeah. And then, but it sounds so cool when I reach out to people and say, hey, I'm doing a podcast tour this year. My goal is to be on 24 podcasts and I'm going to talk about XYZ. I'm an expert in XYZ. And just like, tell them that I'm on this tour, and people want to help you with your goals. And people want to give you the opportunity.
Did you get anyone that said, nah?
I mean, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. But I didn't care because I sent out so many, outreach emails that I booked.
It didn't matter.
It didn't matter who said no, right? And a lot of times, even people who said no before, like if I just keep asking, they eventually are like, I just want to get this girl out of my inbox. I'm let me get her a spot. I'll find her something. Or someone cancels and they're like, hey, someone canceled. You're you're like way down here on the list, but can you do it now? And like, sure, I'll take it.
And was that part of your manifesting?
It's part of it. Yeah, I'm always putting something out there, and I feel like people are often just afraid of that next level, and I get it. I've been afraid too. But say the big scary thing. Like, I never in my life thought I'd work with Ryan Serhant, and that was a huge milestone in my business, allowing me to just really up level. Yeah. And that came from consistently showing up and saying that I wanted to work with the best in real estate. And here I am, you know?
That's it. Yeah, you are with the best of real estate.
Yeah, here I am. Exactly.
Hey, let me ask you this. This is something I get pushed back all the time.
Yeah.
Well, I don't get pushed back, but I get questioned about it. Collaborating.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had people here in this chair and the other studios, people that do real estate. Like, I don't care. like I'm a real estate agent, right?
Yeah.
And I don't mind having another realtor sitting next to me.
You should absolutely not mind having another real estate
But then
agent.
people seem to have an issue with that. Like, dude, why are you bringing a realtor to your show?
Yeah, because they're doing it wrong. They're
Right?
doing it wrong. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I say collaborate. I mean,
Collaboration over competition all day, every day.
Yeah.
And if you are connecting with real estate agents across the country, even better for you because those referrals are amazing.
Right.
And so I highly recommend that real estate agents think about collaboration over competition.
And it doesn't matter if it's out of state, but local, out of state. I mean, obviously, out of state works a lot better too.
Yeah.
But locally, I mean, I think it's just sharing the same ideas.
Yes, and when that agent sees your offer come along, we're not going to say anything, but we
know what we're talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, Candince, I really, really, really enjoy having you here.
Yeah,
I
thank
really
you so
appreciate
much.
you. But your podcast, where people can find you, what do you got going on? Anything we should be looking out for?
So podcast, Not Nice Clever, definitely
Not
follow.
Nice Clever.
We are on YouTube and Instagram, and just definitely follow us there. And you can also write in a question, and we answer it in a segment that we call Not Nice Advice.
Okay.
So if you ever have a branding marketing question, that's a great place to submit your question via Instagram, and we will answer it on our podcast, which is really fun.
We'll do that.
Okay, I love it. And then I also own a design studio. So if you're looking for branding, like visual branding, logos, that kind of thing, DM me and we can help you with that. And I'm a consultant as well. So if you just want to get started with social media and you want to have us help you kind of overcome that fear and make a plan, I do that too.
Or not even get started, just kind of revamp, right?
Yeah, revamp, all of that. If you're just feeling like you're in a rut or you're ready to level up and you need someone to guide you, I love to do that.
There you go. Where can people find you at?
At Candince Carcioppolo on Instagram.
There you go. Is that your only contact? YouTube?
YouTube, Not Nice Clever is on YouTube, but not me personally. But basically, you can email me. Everything is Candice at CandiceCarcioppolo.com.
There you go. Well, I really appreciate you. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for being here. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Candince, Alfredo, see you guys.